players possibly have in common? Stay tuned to find out. Hello folks, Nina S here, coming to you with a special video this Super Bowl 56 weekend. This Super Bowl is huge for Ohioans this year and for the little college town of Athens, Ohio, home of the Ohio University BOBCATS. Yes, it's a big weekend because our hometown hero, Joe Burrow, is leading the Cincinnati Bengals to their first Super Bowl in 30+ years. Amazingly, talented pro ball players don't often come from Athens, Ohio. So when it does happen, it's time to celebrate. Before I talk about the baseball player pictured here, let me spend a few minutes on the football player. Joe Burrow. His all-American boy face and name is everywhere these days. Cincinnati is going crazy with Bengals and Burrow fever. Even the Cleveland sportswear company GV Art made a special edition Joe Burrow t-shirt to celebrate. In Joe's little hometown, which also happens to be my hometown, everyone is incredibly excited. The Athens High School students spelled out "Hooday" on the field where Joe led the Athens Bulldogs to the state football championship. All the elementary schools have had Burrow Bengals Week all week long, with children shouting "Hooday" to each other. Downtown Court Street in Athens is decorated with giant orange Passion Works painted flowers with the number 9 on them. That's Joe's number if you don't know. And there is a banner hung high across the street which reads, "From Bulldog to Bengal, Hooday, let's go Joe." Ohio University also has a famous graffiti wall. And this wall has 3 brand new Bengal murals. Joe is literally everywhere. Joe's winning spirit has led sports commentators to compare him to, yes, a young Tom Brady. The fact that he won a national championship at LSU and the HEISMAN Trophy has sports personalities comparing him to other Joes. Maybe you've heard of them. Joe Montana and Broadway Joe Namath. Those same sportscasters would love to see Joe win, but most of them are predicting the Rams over the Bengals. In Athens, we've learned never, ever to doubt Joe. We're so proud of him, especially the man he has become. He has not forgotten his hometown either. He helped our food bank far exceed the donations of prior years by remembering teammates who did not have the same opportunities he had growing up in Appalachia. So to Joe, we say, we are with you, cheering for you one more time, louder than ever before, and are proud of you for all that you have accomplished this year. So, why did I compare Joe to this very old baseball player? Any guesses? The player is George "CRUM" Kaler, who pitched for the Cleveland Indians, when they were named for Nap Lajoie, from 1911 to 1914. Here's the big reveal. Mr. Kaler grew up in Athens, Ohio. He played for Athens High School and then went on to play for Ohio University in football, basketball, and baseball. He was so talented, just like Joe, he was so talented like Joe was, but he went on to play for Cleveland, becoming one of their premier pitchers in the early teens of the 1900s. As I said in the earlier video, hometown heroes don't often come along here in Athens, Ohio. In fact, it's been over 100 years, which is cause for celebration. A big celebration. So, how did I find out about George Kaler? In the sports card world, there's always an interesting backstory, isn't there? Over a year ago, I was watching a video by Bowman 53, Alex. He recently completed his set of 1953 Bowman baseball cards and was exploring pre-war cards. The card he featured that night was a 1912 T207 of Jack Barry. The T207s are the sepia tone, sort of half-brother to the much-loved colorful T206 cards. The Barry card charmed me so much I decided to check out the cards on eBay. Since I mostly collect Cleveland Indians cards, I searched for those T207s specifically. The first card to pop was this card of George Kaler. Thankfully, the seller also posted a photo of the back of the card. Unlike the T206 cards, which only feature brands of tobacco, the T207 cards also feature player profiles in addition to the tobacco ads. I started to read the profile when what to my wondering eyes did appear? Oh, I'll just read it. George R. Kaler, one of Cleveland's young slabmen, was born in Athens, Ohio, 23 years ago in 1912. Kaler must be added to the college-developed list as his first pitching of any note was marked at Ohio University, where his curveball and speed soon put a big dent in the batting averages of other Buckeye collegians, Buckeye as in the state. With but a brief minor league experience, Kaler was picked up by the Naps in 1909, where he showed promise from the jump. In 1911, Kaler won 9 out of 17 games for a pitching average of .529. And you can see on the bottom the Recruit Little Cigars logo. I couldn't believe it. This guy was from Athens and he went to Ohio University. How did I not know about him? I did what we all do. I Googled his name. I found out he was buried here in Athens, so my mom and sister, Marianne, and I went out on a cold winter's day to find his headstone and pay our respects. I also found in his Wikipedia profile references to the Ohio University Mann Center talking about a George Kaler scrapbook. I'd never heard of the Mann Center, but quickly found out it was an annex for Ohio University's Alden Library, where I studied many a late night in the stacks. I got in touch with the archives and came upon the chief archivist, Bill Kimmock. Bill and I were so happy to find each other. He has been the guardian of a scrapbook that someone put together of George Kaler, and it's a gold mine of memories. Thankfully, living in the 21st century, the scrapbook has been digitized, so I could view it in all its glory online. It is packed full of newspaper clippings, postcards of players and buildings, photos of George, and much more. Bill doesn't know who collected the scrapbook. It could have been George's wife, children, or maybe George himself. Bill and I are just so happy that someone had the wherewithal to donate it to the OU library so it could be treasured for years to come. There are way too many pages for me to show the whole scrapbook, but I will show you a sample. Can you believe this historical treasure? I've only begun to read all the articles, but in the end, I'd like to read them all. While George has already been inducted into the Ohio University Hall of Fame, it is my goal to get him into the Athens High School Athletic Hall of Fame, alongside Joe Burrow and my youngest sister, Joy Pfeiffer. After all, when this only happens once every 100 years, it really needs to be celebrated. In closing, I want to thank Alex for sharing his Jack Berry T207 and encouraging me with my pre-war collection. I'd also like to thank Terry of TJ Maxx Vintage Cards for inspiring me with his great sport cards and family stories. I'd also like to thank Robin and Jimmy Burrow, Joe's parents, for raising an amazing athlete and, more importantly, a stand-up guy. Thanks to Bill Kimmock for sharing the superb primary source document about Mr. Kaler. And thanks to whoever put that scrapbook together originally. Finally, I want to thank my family for encouraging and inspiring my love of baseball, especially my sisters, Jessica, Marianne, and Joy. I will close with a hooday and go Bengals. We are with you, Joe Burrow. And best wishes to future Bulldog superstars. Enjoy the Super Bowl.